Hello and welcome back to World 360. It's not just Europe that's facing an energy crisis amid the Ukraine war, but South Asian countries are also feeling the burn. We've seen how fuel prices in Pakistan have spiked and how the country is scrambling to procure liquefied natural gas or LNG at an affordable rate even when little is available in the international market. While the crisis in Pakistan is due to several factors, we're seeing certain countries revert to desperate measures in order to reduce energy consumption. I'm talking about Bangladesh. 2 months ago, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina ordered authorities to ensure that shopping malls, stores, and kitchen markets are all closed by 8 p.m. every night to conserve electricity. In July, the government shut down diesel run power plants, and just earlier this week, it ordered schools to close an additional day each week, as well as government offices and banks. If this wasn't enough, it also asked thousands of mosques to refrain from using air conditioners outside of prayer times. These measures come as fuel prices in Bangladesh have increased by 50% and as the government mulls buying cheaper fuel from Russia. But the Ukraine war, like most unprecedented crises, seems to have only exacerbated deeper problems. These deeper problems are twofold in Bangladesh. Not only does Bangladesh's power sector drastically rely on imports of fossil fuels like LNG, but the government made what some have called a bizarre decision earlier this year to support rental power plant companies in the private sector, even when they are idle, which proved to be very costly. Let's look at the first part of the problem. Simon Nicholas, a researcher at the US-based Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis, told Reuters that Bangladesh's power sector has increasingly relied on imports of fossil fuels, including LNG, which is a very volatile commodity that risks becoming too expensive for poorer countries. We've already seen how over-reliance on fossil fuels has hurt countries like Pakistan too. In Bangladesh's case, it is estimated that 60% of its power generation comes from natural gas. Experts like Badrul Imam, former professor of geology at Dhaka University, call the current measures of forcing malls and schools to shut down for certain hours are quick fixes or piecemeal steps. Experts have instead urged the government to diversify its energy import basket or explore the Bengal Delta, which has been termed a highly prospective gas-rich province. Now on to the second part of Bangladesh's power crisis, which has more to do with a misstep on the part of the government. In March, the Bangladesh government decided to provide 2-year tenure extensions to 5 high-cost rental companies which owned quick rental power plants or QRPPs in the private sector. This meant that these companies would continue to receive a set payment from the government for the next 2 years. Though the government sought to celebrate its success in extending electricity coverage through this decision, the decision really baffled many because not only did Bangladesh have surplus production at the time, but supporting these private players is very costly to the taxpayer. Over the last decade, there have been many such contracts with independent power producers, rental power plants, and others, which are in a way a waste of resources as the government ends up paying these companies even when they don't provide any electricity. Research institutes like the Atlantic Council have referred to these contracts as corruption in the power sector. An editorial by Bangladeshi newspaper, the Daily Star, recently blamed this decision by the government as the root of the current power crisis, calling it a grave that it dug for itself. Not only is Bangladesh facing a power crisis, but its declining foreign currency reserves is just adding salt to the wound. Let's not forget that Bangladesh was the third country in South Asia after Sri Lanka and Pakistan that knocked on the IMF's door in recent months. But the crisis in Bangladesh doesn't appear to be as worse as in Sri Lanka and Pakistan as yet. Thank you so much for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for ThePrint. Do subscribe to ThePrint and follow us on social media.